розважні заходи для поважного віку. Трампу – 79. Святкування, себто військовий парад, розпочався з ретроспективи. Перед глядачами крокували військові у одностроях різних епох. Від війни за незалежність штатів до Другої світової. Показали також, у чому воювали американці у Кореї та В'єтнамі. Абрамси, Бредлі та Геркулеси. Похизуватися досягненнями американського військпрому вирішили взірцями вітчизняної техніки. До них долучилися і сучасні здобутки інженерів. Робопси крокували поруч зі спецпризначенцями та технікою. У заході взяли участь майже 7 тисяч військових, а от глядачів парад зібрав менше за очікувані 200 тисяч. За різними підрахунками, подія коштувала американським платникам податків від 20 до 45 мільйонів доларів.
Зараз ми найзапальніша країна у світі. Незабаром наша країна стане більшою та сильнішою, ніж будь-коли раніше. Протягом всієї історії ми були невимовно благословенні цим доблесним регіоном, воїнів та патріотів армії, героїв і легенд. І сьогодні ми з непохитною впевненістю стверджуємо, що наступні роки в кожному поколінні, коли б не покликав обов'язок і хоч яка небезпека не настала б, американський солдат буде поруч.
Яскравою частиною параду став десант золотих лицарів. Це парашутна команда армії США. Вони стрибнули з літака над військовими формуваннями, а пізніше подарували президенту США згорнутий американський прапор. Та який захід із Трампом і без конфузів. Напередодні параду Пентагон опублікував в соцмережах привітання із Днем прапора. Втім, поруч з американським стягом розмістили два маленькі триколори, ідентичні російському. Чи було це випадковістю, відомство не коментує. Втім, соціальні мережі вже вибухнули невдоволенням. І поки Дональд Трамп приймав привітання та задоволено головував на урочистостях, в Штатах розгорталися протести. «Ні королям» – офіційна назва акції. Сотні тисяч американців від Нью-Йорка до Лос-Анджелесу вийшли проти дій Трампа, зокрема через його політику щодо мігрантів та збройних придушень мирних акцій.
Happy birthday, but he's not a king.
З днем народження, але він не король. Лише поводиться як король, розумієте? Він покидьок, ось хто він. Йому це ні за що не зійде з рук. Я справді дуже оптимістично налаштована щодо того, що народ Сполучених Штатів не збирається це терпіти. Я думаю, ми це подолаємо.
Попри велелюдні вуличні акції, скандальні непорозуміння з триколорами, Пентагоном та заклики припинити свавілля влади, парад завершився очікувано – масштабним святковим феєрверком. Ярослава Годзиневська, 5 канал.
forged in the fires of revolution, tested on today's front lines of freedom. Before there was a nation, there was the United States Army. From the hallowed ground of Yorktown's first stand to the unwavering readiness at Fort Bragg today, and onward to West Point's next generation of leaders. For 250 years, one force has stood ready, unshaken, unmatched, unbreakable. And today, the legacy rolls on. This is the United States Army's 250th Anniversary Parade.
Representing our joint forces, please welcome the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane. Joining us, the Secretary of the Army. Please welcome the Honorable Daniel P. Driscoll. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Secretary of Defense, the Honorable Pete Hegseth. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, accompanied by the Second Lady of the United States, Usha Vance, and their 3 children. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and First Lady Melania Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, would you please rise for the singing of our national anthem?
By the dawn's early light so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming. Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, we watched were so gallantly streaming. On the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, saved as that star-spangled banner yet waved. O'er the land of the free and the home of the
Before we even had a country, we had an army.
They started as a small, unorganized group of shop owners and farmers, but they fought the most powerful army in the entire world to a standstill in Concord, Lexington, and Bunker Hill.
Then our Continental Congress chose George Washington as general of our Continental Army.
But it wasn't until 1 year later, on July 4th, 1776, that news arrived of the signing of our Declaration of Independence.
Now we had a new army and a new nation.
With little gunpowder, no shoes, bloody feet, few cannons, little training, and even less food.
Valley Forge started in December. They went into winter camp in December of 1777. Approximately 2,000 Americans died that winter of disease.
They lived through hell, but they never ever gave up. Not this army, not this first American army.
Finally, Washington and his army arrived, here at Yorktown, where they had General Cornwallis and his powerful British army trapped in this city against the sea.
All of the preparation that Washington has learned through the course of those 6.5 years meets its full force here at Yorktown, and he employs it brilliantly.
Sailing from the Caribbean, the French Navy arrived and took on the British fleet.
Washington decided to make his move. Our men began digging to get closer and closer to the fort, finally getting within rifle and cannon range. Naturally, George Washington chose to set off our first cannon shot.
The British had two small forts in front of the main fort. They were called redoubts 9 and 10.
Then, on the moonless night of October 14th, the American and French forces attacked the redoubts. The hand-to-hand combat with bayonets, knives, and fists was bloody, to say the least. But within an hour, we were victorious.
And as the sun came up the next day, Cornwallis looked out and realized he was in serious trouble. So he prepared an all-out, desperate counterattack.
It didn't work, and the British were forced to surrender.
We were supposed to lose to the best army and the largest and most professional navy in the world.
But our young army had won the war and our freedom. The freedom we hold so dear. And 250 years later, for what started as a ragtag group of shop owners, has now become the most powerful army in the world.
Today, many things are very different from that army here at Yorktown, but one thing remains the same. An undying passion, guts, and love for our country remains deep in the heart of today's army. When I look into their faces, you can see it. That will never change. God bless the United States Army, and God bless the United States of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, our parade is officially underway. Up first, internationally renowned as one of the world's finest professional music organizations, the United States Army Band, Pershing Zone. They are the premier music organization of the U.S. Army, our nation's most senior service. Stationed at Joint Base Meyer-Henderson Hall, Virginia, it plays an important musical role in events of national and international significance. They were founded back in 1922 by Army Chief of Staff John J. Pershing. They're led today by Colonel Bruce R. Pulver and Drum Major Rob Moore. Today, Pershing Zone is playing a melody entitled The Army Goes Rolling Along. This was actually written in 1908 by the then Lieutenant Edmund Louis Snitz Gruber, which was a descendant of Franz Gruber, who composed Silent Night. It was originally written to be the 5th Artillery Regimental song titled The Caissons Go Rolling Along, and in 1956 the lyrics were revised by Harold Arberg as the official song of the U.S. Army, and then retitled The Army Goes Rolling Along. Pershing Zone carries on its century-old legacy, playing a march that brings pride to every soldier, the Army Song. The 3rd Infantry Regiment in the U.S. Army. Established back in 1784, the unit was dubbed the Old Guard by Major General Winfield Scott during a victory parade in Mexico City after the Mexican War. It is the U.S. Army's official ceremonial unit and presidential escort, conducting year-round tactical training to ensure the highest standards and utmost discipline of its soldiers. The unit routinely represents the U.S. Army and our nation in official ceremonies, major sporting events, and their own, the U.S. Army's own Twilight Tattoo. The Old Guard also maintains 24-hour vigil of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, while also conducting funeral services honoring our fallen heroes in Arlington National Cemetery. The regiment's 50 campaign streamer stand is a testament to its long, faithful service to our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, the 3rd Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard. In 1775, the shot heard round the world at Lexington and Concord sparked a revolution, uniting 13 colonies and forging a continental army from farmers and frontiersmen. Against the odds, they turned the tide at Trenton and Saratoga, survived Valley Forge, and at Yorktown forced a British surrender, securing independence and giving birth to the United States of America. Before radios and field phones, sound was the signal. In the Continental Army, fifes and drums carried commands across the chaos of battle, telling soldiers when to advance, when to retreat, eat, even when to rest. That legacy actually lives on today with the U.S. Army Fife and Drum Corps, part of the 3rd Infantry Regiment known as the Old Guard. Founded back in 1960, they're the only unit of their kind in the armed forces. Performing in uniforms patterned after those worn by General Washington's musicians. Playing period instruments with patriotic precision, they bring history to life, sharing the sound and spirit of the Revolution through more than 500 performances each year, both at home and around the world too. The Old Guard, Fife and Drum Corps, everybody. And now, from high above, ladies and gentlemen, celebrating 250 years, your United States Army parachute team, the Golden Knights. Descending at over 120 miles an hour, the Golden Knights are using flexible wing gliders to maintain their formation. They open their main canopy simultaneously and negotiate the softest possible landing. I'll tell you, they can't hear you, but they sure can see you. You can give them a great big wave, ladies and gentlemen, the Golden Knights.